This video is an introduction to polynomials. In this table, you have three examples of different polynomials. You have a polynomial written here, here, and here. It is important when you're given a polynomial that you can identify the coefficient, or sometimes there's more than one, the variables, the constant term, the degree, and you should also be able to name the polynomial. The coefficients are the numbers found in front of the variable terms. So a coefficient for this polynomial would be 2, and the other coefficient is 1. Although there's no number written in front of that x term, we should know that the coefficient is 1. We just don't need to write it because 1 times x is x, and that's the most simplified form. So the two coefficients, again, are attached to the variables. So we have 2 and positive 1. The variable is the letter used in the polynomial. In this case, it was x. The constant term is either added or subtracted to the polynomial. Our constant term in this polynomial is -10. A polynomial gets its degree by taking the highest exponent on a variable. So the highest exponent on the x variable in this polynomial is 2. So the degree of the entire polynomial is 2. This polynomial has 3 terms. Terms are separated by either addition or subtraction signs. So this is one term, this is another, and this is another term. 3-term polynomials are called trinomials. So here's the information that we just reviewed. In the second polynomial, the coefficient is -7. It's attached to the variable y. The constant term is positive 5 because it is added to the polynomial. The degree of this polynomial is 1, since the highest exponent on the y variable is a 1. This polynomial has 2 terms, so it's called a binomial. The final polynomial is just one term, called a monomial. It isn't attached to a variable, so it isn't a coefficient, doesn't have a variable. The -2 stands alone. It is the constant term. The degree of this polynomial is 0. Since there is no variable, there is no exponent on the variable, so the degree is 0. So remember, 3-term polynomials are called trinomials, 2-term polynomials are called binomials, and a 1-term polynomial is called a monomial. In this unit, we will also use algebra tiles to model polynomials, and we will use these in different lessons to learn how to add and subtract polynomials. This year, the shaded tiles represent positive. A big squared tile represents x squared. A skinny rod represents x, and a little unit represents 1. The unshaded tiles represent negative. So it's the same meaning here. A big square tile represents negative x squared. An unshaded rod represents negative x, and an unshaded unit tile is -1. So we will use these tiles to do a simple example. Here we are asked to state the polynomial that is being modeled. Shaded is positive. You have one big square tile, so you have 1 x squared. You have 3 negative x squared tiles. So 3 negatives we're going to write as subtracting 3x, because decreasing by 3 is the same thing as having a negative 3. And then we have 5 positive unit tiles. So we're going to add on 5. Now you won't see us write polynomials with a 1 as a coefficient. The most simplified version is just x squared subtract 3x plus 5. You should know that 1 times x squared is just x squared. This concludes our introduction on polynomials.